Welcome back to Chasing the Sun. This week, Janie and I are excited to share with you our best Japanese dining experience at Sunsai Japanese Restaurant. It's 100% omakase, and if you haven't heard of omakase before, then hang on, you would be delighted. For those who haven't tried omakase style before, we definitely recommend it as the ultimate Japanese dining experience. Omakase literally means I'll leave it to you. So if you choose an omakase menu, you are basically picking a price point that you want to spend, and then the chef will do the rest. This is actually very difficult and takes not only skill and technique, but also imagination and creativity to come up with a truly memorable dining experience, especially when different people have different tastes. The chefs actually don't decide on the menu until the very last minute, so it's unique every time. Sometimes they will create special dishes to suit the weather. For instance, if it's hot or cold that day, they might serve different things. And I've heard that some chefs even pair food according to the individual customer's personality that they can see. So omakase definitely requires trust, and that's the great thing about this dining experience.
You can tell that the chefs really treat their culinary creations as an art form. Not only is it visually appealing, they pair it so well and will take your entire palate on an unforgettable journey. They use the highest quality ingredients, and you can see their attentions to details in every dish.
While omakase style is sometimes offered alongside a la carte menus, most of the omakase restaurants in Taipei are strictly omakase menu based. A lot of them are dinner only and will require advanced booking. So we were lucky actually to have found this one which offered lunch without reservations. But I suspect that if you came for dinner, you should pre-book, because omakase is more common as a dinner experience, and most omakase restaurants are small and boutique, so seating is very limited. So in this vlog, we'll be sharing with you our dining experience at Sunsai Omakase Restaurant in the Xinyi area. They apparently have a second location on Zhongsan North Road also.
We will also give you insider tips on how to get this very high-end meal at almost half the price. But before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed to our channel to be notified of our upcoming travel and food adventures. Now, let's get to it.
I think he's showing two different styles. This is the regular way of slicing it thin. The previous one that we had was thicker slice, but what the omakase chef did was slice the meat halfway through so it opens up almost like a flower. And it was very interesting because the feeling on the tongue actually gives a different feeling. It's almost like eating a piece of flour on the tongue when you do it. Definitely a different experience. From the thick piece to the thin piece. I actually like the thick one. It was very interesting, the way that it touched the tongue with the different ripples on the fish. It was very nice. So this is aji fish. The chef introduced it, and it's supposed to have a light smoking on the outside. And what's on top is a soup, a Japanese soup that turned into gelatin. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this tastes like. It definitely looks very pretty. You know, in omakase, all of their sushi is artwork to them, so they're very proud of it, and I love how the chef introduces every piece.
The gelatin here that's made of the soup base, it just melts in your mouth. And this is, I believe, is kind of like a daikon, and it gives a little bit crunchy taste to it, but it also has marinated to it. The whole thing, there's a citrus taste to the fish, but that I think that will take away the fishy smell from the fish. So when you eat it, it doesn't have the fish smell to it. In fact, it has a very fresh taste. Actually, it tastes really well with the it gives a very nice texture to the mouth, like when the gelatin melts in your mouth, but then when you bite on it, it has the crunchy side to it. So it gives the mouth of a lot of flavor, a lot of texture.
So this is, you can see the knife skills of the sushi chef. If you look at this, see how thinly sliced it is in a cross hatch pattern. So that should add a nice experience for the tongue. The daikon, diced daikon gave a nice crunchy texture to it. And even the sound of it in your mouth was interesting. And the fish had a interesting texture that was in between the two, but the way that they slice it also gave an experience to the tongue. Citrus, the fish wasn't overpowering, so yeah, it was a very nice balance of everything.
这个里面就是有干贝的厨、刺贝，有3种贝类的贝素，搭配小黄瓜跟紫苏叶丝，上面这个酱菜，这个叫春菜、菌菜，有一点像酸酸甜甜的，拌着一起吃就可以了。
The chef said that this dish is is very nice during the summer hot days because it's actually the bowl is actually chilled. It's really cold, so I think it will keep the food here. It looks like some type of it's a really small version of a gooey duck or some kind of like a shellfish. So it's mixed with some cucumber and some kind of sauce, look like a gelatin as well. But I'm gonna give it a try and see what it tastes like. It's actually very refreshing and it's like you don't feel like you're eating any kind of shellfish at all. You know, within the really thinly sliced cucumber, it also has some kind of like a herb, like the basil type of herb in there. So it's really give it a nice fragrance to it. And yeah, it's really nice. It's really good dish for summer.
So this fish that the chef just put on our plate is kanpachi, and he advises that that's supposed to be eaten without soy sauce or anything, just by the way it is. And then after that, he says that we should eat this egg custard. It's a hot egg custard, so let's see what that experience is like. So this is kanpachi, the one that I told you about. No need for soy sauce or anything because, as you can see, he's actually lightly sprinkled salt on top.
Wow, it's so good. The salt within it itself has a seasoning to it, and it gives some buttery taste to it. It's hard to explain, but I don't know, it's so good. I don't mind having a second piece. 请问你啊，你这个盐呢是不是特别的？是很
对，这是那
很像
个用松露
松露
松露是什么？
，tofu，
哦 truffle
truffle，对对对，
哦 no wonder
很特别
yeah 很香很好吃
比较跟这个鱼比较大，对。
Okay. So this is truffle salt. That's why it's so special.
That's why so good.
Truffle salt. First time I've heard of it, but what a great experience, eh?
It's such a great experience. Like I've never eaten a kambachi without dipping into the soy sauce or wasabi, with just the sprinkle of the salt. But the salt itself has truffle in it.
Creamy.
It's very creamy and so buttery, and the truffle smell is actually really strong, but it doesn't overpower the fish. The fish itself is really fatty, so it's a great combination. This egg custard is also really nice. The fact that it's not that salty, and which is really light on your on your tongue. It's not too heavy, and I find that there's another texture in here besides the really smooth egg custard in there. It also has like seaweed to it. You can taste some texture, but it's really thinly sliced. You can hardly see it, but you can taste it. So the combinations of the seaweed in there with the smooth egg custard is actually bring out a really nice texture on your tongue.
This, I think the reason they paired this right after that fish with the truffle salt is it has a very similar experience on the tongue, in the sense that it's a buttery flavor to it, but not overpowering. So just like the fish is not overpowering.
这鸭肉，
Yeah.
鸭
Yellow.
This is
Duck.
the meat is very tender, yet the layer of fat that is on the skin is actually not fatty at all.
So the skin that looks black actually isn't burnt at all. It doesn't taste burnt. There's not a charcoal or burnt flavor to it. I think what they did was smoked it. It's nice in the sense that you don't get any of the duck fat in your mouth at all. It's nice and lean. It tastes very lean. The skin is unique. And actually the other thing that we noticed is that the daikon has flavor in it. So you eat it by itself, there's actually flavor on it already, so you don't need any extra soy sauce or anything like that. It was very nice, good experience. You can tell that it's hard to execute.
这个台湾的虾叫做虾母，就是这个。那这罐寿司上面你们就吃掉2只虾了。
So that was the prawn, and what this is it's basically prawn that he wrapped over sushi rice.
Wow. The prawn is actually tastes really fatty. It melts in your mouth and it's tender. But it has, you don't have to dip in soy sauce. I just added a little wasabi on it. And I see that he squeezed some lemon onto the prawn before he serving us. So it gave us a little bit of citrus taste to it. And that brings out the flavor of the prawn. So it's actually really, really nice. And the prawn is actually really fresh. So I highly recommend having this piece if you are here next time.
它的酱汁
哦，
要泡大概35分钟。对，这样子的话，入口的口感会比较滑顺一点。上面搭配的是姜末，直接吃就可以。
So this is tuna that was marinated in that sauce that he just showed us for about 30 minutes, he says. It doesn't taste like tuna I'm used to. I think that marinating process helps. Definitely adds flavor to it. It's got a light soy sauce flavor. Sweetness comes through. Texture is interesting. The texture is tighter than what I'm used to with regular tuna. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, the tuna is actually really good. There's no fishy smell to it. It just melts in your mouth. And the sushi rice is actually really good. The fish just melts in your mouth. It's really tender. You don't have to dip anything, any sauce, or add any wasabi to it. Just eat it like that, and it's like already perfect.
So this is called 鲷鱼 in Chinese. I don't know what that is in English. What's interesting is this yellow-orange stuff on top. It's actually egg yolk. I guess egg yolk flakes on top of it. So we'll have to see what that tastes like.
The fish is really fresh. I can hardly taste any of the egg yolk flakes on it. I guess it's more like for the looks. But because everything, once you put in the mouth, it just melts in your mouth. So everything just combined together with the sushi rice and the fish and the egg. So I think it's so good that the fish is so fresh and it's so smooth that it just melts right in.
可以吃这个，里面加一点葛粉，周围有一点豆腐的形状的一个热菜，下面是白芝麻的酱，可以拌着一起吃。刚炸好，里面有一点烫。
They made it themselves. Black sesame. They just they kind of grind it down to powder, and they made it into kind of a tofu. I think there's tofu inside, and with the black sesame custard on the outside, it's like a black sesame tofu. Actually, very interesting. It's very good. It's not sweet. It's not sweet at all, but the texture is very smooth, very like chewy at the same time because of the outside, and it has this is kind of like a sugary powder that they coat it with, but it's not sweet at all. So I mean, for me, I'm a type of person that don't like to eat dessert that is super sweet. So this is kind of like a perfect dessert for me because you can actually taste the original taste of the ingredients. You can smell the sesame, the walnut, and everything in between. So definitely give it a try.
So this is the black sesame dessert that Janie tried. I tried also. Very interesting experience. I love food with unexpected experiences, and this is one of those. They grind the black sesame down and then they deep fried it. So what happens is then the skin on the outside is crunchy, crispy, but on the inside, the beauty about it is it contrasts nicely with a soft inside, a light jelly. It doesn't have much taste to it, but this puree that they have has a slight savory taste to it. So that's interesting for a dessert. You know, when you wouldn't expect savory, but I think it works overall. This green item on top is wasabi. So again, another unexpected item. You don't expect wasabi on a dessert. I tried some with it. It's actually very light. You don't taste it much at all, so it might be just for adornment. We thought this last dish was dessert, but we realized that there were still more dishes to come. I don't know what type of fish roll this is. It looks like ikura, salmon roll, but this is really good. I haven't had salmon roll or fish roll this good. What makes it extra special for me is there's a lot of juice that comes out of it when you bite into it. And the juice itself is sweet. Has a bit of a buttery taste to it, a little bit fat to it, but it's like a melody in your mouth. It's amazing.
So for me in Vancouver, I would never order this because I don't like it, because every time I order, it's a very fishy smell. That's one thing that I don't like eating, like salmon roll or fish roll. But here, I'm gonna give it a try and see what it tastes like. Now, this fish roll is very different than what I have in Vancouver. It doesn't have that fishy smell that I don't like. And at the same time, when you just bite into it, the roll just like melts in your mouth. And the juice that comes out of it is very, it's not fishy. That's all I can say. It's just like, it tastes really good. It doesn't taste like you're eating fish roll.
So this is our miso soup. We got it near the end. I'm not sure why they paired it that way. Yeah, it's nice. You can tell that even the simplest thing like a miso soup, they put a lot of attention to it. If you look at the onions, it's actually quite small. Much smaller than what we normally have. In proportion, this is my hand. So you can imagine how small this cup is. And then put that proportion to the onions. So the onion itself is very small. And I think they did that just for the texture. You know, if it's a bigger ring of onion, you don't get the same texture in your mouth. So that was nice.
So as you can see, Asian people don't like to waste food. So the prawn that we had earlier, the prawn sushi, this is like they use the head to make the soup out of it. So no wonder the soup tastes so sweet. I don't taste any MSG in it, but it's really, the soup tastes really sweet and fresh with the seafood taste in it.
Part of the whole omakase experience, of course, is how you pair the food in your mouth. So we're advised to have the fruits first, and then the red bean paste, and then end it off with the passion fruit sorbet. We just finished a beautiful lunch experience at this restaurant called Sunsai. It's an omakase style restaurant where the chef basically selects what he will provide you that day. The thing I love about Japanese food, especially the high quality ones, is that they just take the simplest ingredients and bring out all the special tastes. It entices all your senses, the visual sense in the preparation, the taste, the texture in your mouth, all of that stuff, and they pair it so well. So that was my experience of it. How was yours, Shane?
Yeah, it was a great experience for me as well. It's actually my first experience in an omakase restaurant. And yeah, normally the price setting itself was like from 2,000 NT up to like 6,000 to $8,000 NT. But today, because it's a lunchtime, they make it like, they call it a executive lunch menu, which is like 1,200 NT. But what we have was like a 12-course meal. So the chef prepared like 12 different type of food for you right in front of you. And yeah, it's actually more than enough than what I can take. But overall, every single item on the menu was excellent.
If you want to find this place, it's very close to the Xinyi Anhe MRT station. You can see it on Google Map here along with the address and phone number. Unfortunately, there's not an English name on Google Map for it, so you have to punch in these Chinese words to look for it.
2 insider tips. If you want this meal at half the price, come at lunchtime. Also, allow a lot of time because omakase style is meant to be a longer dining experience. Our lunch took us over an hour and a half. If you enjoyed this vlog, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel for more upcoming food and travel adventures.